Hey everybody, it's Sims Beauty again, and I am back with another video. So today's video is going to be about Mom on Oxygen. Excuse that noise in the back, that's the compressor, since I have to be on it all day. So you're going to hear that. Alright, so July 27th, 2014. July 27, 2012, I was working as a certified lead brain injury specialist. I worked with brain injured individuals, helping them with their activities of daily living, helping them with scheduling, taking them back and forth to work, whatever they needed, medication, whatever, doctor's appointments. That's what I did. I also had two other addendum positions in this company. I was the health and safety person as well as the a lead. So that's like a shift. They would call it shift leader. It's like the shift supervisor. So July 27th, 2012, I was leaving from my job to go to another office to handle one of my addendum responsibilities. As I'm on my way to the other building, they were doing construction on the side of the road. So they had the big trucks out there with the arrows telling everybody to merge, get over, whatever. I was on the phone with my husband during this car ride. Of course, I had headphones in. And something just told me to look in my rearview mirror. So I looked up and I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to hit me. Next thing I know, the lady in back of me hits my car. I'm thinking, this can't, like, it's just, it felt like it was just like, not a little tad, but not like a major accident, right? So we get out the car. I'm looking at my car. I noticed that her car has a dent in the front where her hood is at. So when she hit me, basically her car went underneath mine. So my bumper is hanging off in the back, whatever. We call the cops. They're like, do you need an ambulance? I'm like, nope, I'm cool. Not that I'm cool, but no, I don't need an ambulance because I was worried about leaving my car, and I didn't live that far from my job. So I was like, I could just call my husband, tell him to come meet me, whatever the case may be. Go to the hospital. They're like, oh, you have a concussion and you have whiplash. So I automatically noticed when I got out the car, my neck was hurting, right? So I'm like, okay, I must have whiplash. I might be out of work for a week or two and then I'm going to be good. I'm thinking like this is a minor accident, no big deal, right? I was wrong. So I had treatment from July 27th, 2012 to May 2014. I was in pain management. I had nerve blocks done, injections, anything you can think of. I tried to have it to, relieve this pain because the pain was so severe. The slightest thing, like you see how this is rubbing up against my skin, that would set me off. It would feel like my skin was on fire. Just the slightest thing. So during these 2 years, I'm noticing that my neck is hurting and I have this pain shooting down my arm, but it stops at my elbow. And I kept saying, I don't understand what's going on. I've never heard of whiplash that travels down your arm. Why am I still in pain months, years after my accident? Come to find out, I had an EMG and it came up that I had a brachial plexus injury. For anybody who doesn't know what a brachial plexus injury is, I'm not going to give you a synopsis about it because I don't want to give you the wrong information. You can just Google it and look it up. But basically, it's like nerve damage that causes paralysis on either one side or both sides or whatever. So the way I ended up getting the brachial plexus injury was when the lady hit me, my car seat, the seat belt. You know how like if you smash on your brakes, it'll jerk you forward and you'll feel your seatbelt tighten up. Basically, when a lady hit me, I tried to brace myself for the impact. So my arms were holding on to the steering wheel and my arms were straight because I said, oh my God, she's going to hit me. I looked up, so I kind of braced myself. And when that happened, my arms were straight and I still went forward. The seatbelt pulled up against me, but my arms were straight, so I made the impact worse by bracing for her hitting me. So I ended up with a brachial plexus injury on my left side. I'm left-handed, left side dominant, and I was paralyzed on the side. So not completely paralyzed, but I couldn't like turn my neck to the left. I couldn't, put my arm up, and I still can't put it up all the way. Not like, see, my right arm goes straight up, but my left arm, this is it. That's as good as it's gonna get. Ouch, sorry. See, just by doing that, I still have chronic pain. 8 years later, I'm still suffering. I have pain every day. So I ended up with a brachial plexus injury. It took them 2 years to find that out. So I went to have surgery. I'm not going to say where I had surgery. I'm not going to name the surgeon. I'm just not going to do it. Had surgery. The surgeon told me I had thoracic outlet syndrome. So he was like, well, during this surgery, I'm just going to let you know that, we're going to take your scalene muscle out. That's just a muscle up here. You have it on both sides. It's like, I'm not going to say it's a useless muscle, but it doesn't really do anything, supposedly. I don't know. They took my scalene muscle out on the side. They cut some fibrous tissue, removed some stuff, whatever. And the doctor was like, the only side effect besides the other ones, like, risk of dying, blood clot, you may need more surgery in the future, stuff like that, is that your phrenic, P-H-R-E-N-I-C, phrenic nerve, sometimes we can stretch that out and it takes a little bit of time for it to go back. So they told me that they only had one patient that they had to give an inhaler to. So I'm like, cool, okay, no problem. I did my research, of course, before having the surgery. And I thought, maybe I should try to do this to better my quality of life. Because at this point, I was going through a lot, not being able to work. I was only working 1 day a week. I did that for a while, and then I had to resign because I couldn't go back to my position as a full certified lead brain injury specialist because I couldn't lift anything. I couldn't do anything, really, but sit on the computer and type with one hand. So I resigned from my job. I had the surgery, and then I had the surgery May 2014, so I waited 2 years. I tried to make sure that surgery was my last resort. Had the surgery May 2014, and the first thing I noticed was when I came home, when I would go up the steps, I would have trouble breathing. And I was like, okay, maybe it's not a big deal. We'll see what happens. So then I noticed that when I would go outside, like say I had to go to the market or something like that, I noticed that when I would walk around, I would be really, really out of breath. Like my lips would start tingling, my face would start tingling, and I felt like I was going to have a medical emergency, like I was going to pass out. And for me, that was scary because I would go out and like I would have my kids with me, or I would be by myself or something like that. And I was like very scared to drive back home. I basically had to sit in my car and wait to recover in order to, drive home or whatever the case may be. So I dealt with that from May to December 2014. And one day, the medical my breathing was so bad that I was like, I need to call my primary. So I make her doctor's appointment. I tell her what's going on. I see her. And the first thing she says to me, she listens to my lungs and whatever the case may be. And she says, you have asthma. I'm like, ma'am, I've never had any breathing problems in my life. You're going to tell me that just asthma came out of nowhere and is causing me this much problems and whatever the case may be. Now, let me just say this. I am aware that when you have asthma, it's not something that you can either be born with it or you can like inherit it after, you know, when you go through life or whatever. It could be brought on by allergies, this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. So she gives me a inhaler and she's like, I need you to go take a chest x-ray. So I take the inhaler. I don't notice any difference, but I notice that I'm still having these breathing problems. So I go and take the chest x-ray, and 24 hours later, my doctor calls me and she says, you need to come in. And I'm like, okay, well, what is going on? The chest x-ray showed that I had a paralyzed diaphragm. So if you're not aware of what your diaphragm does, you have your lungs, and then your diaphragms are underneath your lungs. And they're like these dome-shaped things that when you breathe in, like that, sorry, I can't take a deep breath, but when you breathe in, the domes come up and then they go back down in order to help your lungs expand and retract. Because one of my diaphragms was stuck up, that's what was causing me to have breathing problems. So my primary doctor suggested that I go see a pulmonologist, and that's exactly what I did. So my pulmonary doctor put me on he had me do some tests like the PFT, pulmonary function test, you know, things like that. So I kept having the same symptoms where when I'm walking around, I feel like I'm going to pass out. So they had me do the 6-minute walk, and literally I could not walk for 6 minutes because my breathing was that bad. So because I couldn't walk for 6 minutes, usually when you do a 6-minute walk, they have a pulsometer on your finger checking your oxygen level. But because I was unable to walk 6 minutes, they couldn't really find out whether or not my oxygen was dropping or not. So my pulmonary doctor told me that he suggests that I have another surgery, which was called a left hemidiaphragm plication, meaning that they're going to go in on my left side. It is a lung surgery, and they're going to basically sew that diaphragm down because it's paralyzed, it's not functioning right. They're going to sew the diaphragm down so that my lung could drop, because my left lung, you know, is 2 lobes. So your right lung has more lobes than your left lung, but your left lung only has 2 lobes. They have a top lobe and a bottom lobe. Because my diaphragm was paralyzed and it was stuck in the up position, my bottom lobe was smashed completely. So I was unable to get like a good breath, right? But okay, so I found out now. Remember that I had my surgery May 2015. I didn't find out about the paralyzed diaphragm until December 2014, and then my lung surgery wasn't scheduled to May 2015, because initially when the surgeon saw me, he was like, nope, I don't want to take the chances of working on her because she's too young, her age, this and other. She should be able to function like this. But that wasn't the case. So when I went to see the surgeon, they forced me to do the 6-minute walk. And they found out that when I walked around, my oxygen level would drop to 89%. So that is what was causing me to be so out of breath. So that day, I left on oxygen. So this is my second time on oxygen, not my first time. So I was on oxygen from February 2015 to May 2015. And my pulmonary doctor had also put me on a ventilator at night because I'm unable, and I'm still on a ventilator now. I was off of it for 1 year, and it was the worst thing ever. I just declined after that. So I'm unable to lay flat. So I have to lay on a big wedge, another big pillow, and another pillow. So I'm almost like this while I'm asleep. When I should be laying flat, I'm like almost sitting up. So the surgeon then agreed to do the surgery once he found out that my oxygen level was falling. So at this point, I was in grad school. I have a rule. If I'm not working, I have to be in school. I have to be doing something to better myself. I can't just be home doing nothing. So when I resigned from my job, I had decided to go to grad school. So I started grad school 2013, and I was supposed to finish 2015, which I did. I actually was supposed to finish early, but my surgery kind of interfered in that, whatever. So May 2015 was my surgery date. May 22nd, actually. My doctor wanted me to have it the week before my graduation, and I was like, no, I need to walk in my graduation. You know, I graduated at the top of my class. I graduated with honors. I need to walk in my graduation before I have the surgery. So I graduated from grad school May 16th, 2015. And my surgery was the very next week, May 22nd, 2015. And that's when they did the left hemidiaphragm plication, when they went in and sewed my diaphragm down. Now, with that surgery, I was in intensive care for a couple days. And then I was able to move to another floor. I can't remember how long I was in intensive care. I think like 4 days or something, 3 or 4 days. I can't remember. And then they ended up putting me on the regular floor once I was stable. But I had a chest tube in, and I was hooked to a suction thing. So like when I woke up, I remember saying, what is that noise, right? They had a machine sucking all the fluid out of my lung that they just did surgery on because they didn't want me to catch pneumonia and, you know, have another issue. So they put a chest tube in, and the doctor removed it while I was awake. Oh my God, it was the worst thing ever. Anyway, so May 2015, I had my surgery, and my breathing got a little better. I wouldn't say it was like spectacular, tremendous. I didn't know if I felt like it was worth having the surgery, because the surgery, I was able to get off of oxygen. My thing is, I never want to be on something that I have to rely on, right? So I was able to like take a deeper breath. That's what I'll say. It wasn't like the deepest breath ever, but I was able to breathe a little bit better. Now, by this time, because the surgery took so long, that bottom lobe, left lobe of my lung completely died. So still to this day right now, the bottom left lobe of my lung is permanently collapsed, scarred. It does not function, nothing. Here we are now, 2019. What's today? I don't know what today is, but it's Tuesday, and it's July. So here we are now. When I was out, I was on workers' comp. I was on workers' comp for 2 years, and then I tried to go back to work. I knew I wasn't going to be able to do what I was doing before with the physical aspect, because I still had that restriction on the side. So I can't lift anything over 5 pounds on my left side. So I tried to go back to work in the same capacity, but removing the physical aspect. So I went back to work as a neurocognitive therapist, and that's just working with brain injured people and basically creating a routine for them or building new pathways. So like when you have a brain injury, you can lose certain things. Like, it's a long story. So you lose the ability to be independent in a way, right? So what my job was to go in and build new pathways in the brain to help these individuals be able to do simple stuff like go to the market, or get up a certain time, have stuff to do throughout their day, and just create a routine in a way. I would go into their jobs if they needed assistance, any adaptive type of plans or something. I would come up with that type of stuff, and I would go back and report to the office. So I had plenty of clients. I would go from home. I would go from client to client throughout the day, and whatever it is that we were working on, that's what we would do. So I did that for 8 months. I ended up getting really, really sick. I was hospitalized, and my pulmonary doctor was like, you cannot do that. You need to quit. You cannot be in other people's environments because your immune system is not that strong, right? So I'm like, okay, now I gotta quit my job. I've only been back to work for 8 months, and I love work. I love brain injury. Like, that is, I love it. And it was very hurtful that I had to resign and leave. Okay, so I had to resign in August 2016, and by October 2016, I had already got hired at another company. I actually had to switch careers. Like, I went from being a brain injury specialist or not neurocognitive therapist, to working in finance. Now, working in finance is not bad for me because I love numbers, right? I'm not going to say I love math, but I love numbers, and I can count money very, very well. So I ended up getting hired at this investment firm, working in the processing department, opening accounts, moving money, doing this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. It was a company that I worked for in the past in another capacity, but it came around full circle for me to work in another capacity in this job. In this firm, or whatever the case may be. So I loved it there. You know, it was a little different for me because it was corporate America. Corporate America is tough for anybody who doesn't work in it. It's like cutthroat, competitive. They kind of want you to be robots. You can't really be that opinionated, which I'm a very opinionated person. You know, I'm one of those people. I went to school for criminal justice, so I believe in, if somebody is not being treated right or something is not being done right, I'm the first one to speak up usually. But in this firm, I was not able to do that, which caused a lot of stress for me in the beginning. So I learned how to adapt to what they wanted me to do. I would go in with a whole nother mask, you know, it's showtime, be this other person for 7.5 hours. And then in a way, the job created competitiveness between, you know, coworkers, because we had to get professional licenses. Some people passed the licenses test, some people didn't. Initially, when we went in, they said, if you don't get your licenses, you can't work here. But right at the end, when we took our second test for our license, they changed that rule and was like, oh, you don't need licenses. So everybody who failed their licenses, they called them back, which was no problem because I felt like everybody deserved to be there, right? So I'm there. Lo and behold, the whole time I'm there, you know, I have great work ethics. You know, I have, again, a lot of addendum positions. Not addendum, but I was selected. I'm going to say a couple people on my team was selected to do extra stuff, right? So I was one of those people. But the whole time I was there, now the difference between working at this firm and working in my other job is that my other job, I had coworkers, but I would only see them once every 3 months when we had to go to meetings. So I was basically a loner, you know what I'm saying? So having to interact with other people was not my forte. I would say I'm introverted, but I can be extroverted if I want to be, but I'm really not. I don't like to be around a lot of people. It makes me very tired, and I'll explain that later on down the line why that happens. But I'm an introvert. I like to be by myself. I can work with other people. Again, I can flip either introvert or extrovert. Whatever it is, I can do it, right? I'm loving my job. Some of the people I work with, I'm like, they not my favorite people, but I know how to deal with them. Just, you know, keep my distance, speak when I need to speak, and keep it pushing. The whole time I was at this job, I was sick. Back-to-back lung infections, back-to-back-to-back. I mean, when I say lung infections, like 3 months, 6 months with the same lung infection, my immune system is compromised, right? I'm thinking going from running around to sitting at a desk job would be better, right? No, it wasn't. Want to know why? Because I'm in the office with recycled air, and it's dusty, and people are constantly sick, and that affects me, right? So I'm continuously getting sick, people smoking cigarettes, and then they're walking past me, which is causing another issue because now I'm getting that environmental secondhand smoke exposure, which I don't want, and nor do I need it, right? So I'm there. I'm sick. I'm trying my best to not call out. Unfortunately, there was times where my doctor was like, Tisha, you cannot go to work. You need to be home. Okay? You're not going to be able to do this. So, my 8 months there, I said, my doctor put me out, right, on short-term disability. So I'm like, okay. Now, when I left, my supervisor was like, oh, don't worry about it. You have 26 weeks short-term disability, this, that, and other. I'm like, I won't need 26 weeks. Like, I'm coming back. No. My last day of work was September 14th, 2007. I've been home since then, sick. Right? Now, when I was at work, I did inform my employer that I was sick. Every time I would go to the doctor, I would bring notes. I had a contact person when I was sick to let them know that I couldn't come in because I started getting disciplinary action. Now, it wasn't like written, but it was more like verbal. And it was like, well, how can you discipline me for something that, one, I made you aware of before I got hired? And two, oh, I'm sorry. I had to make sure I was still recording. And two, something that I don't have control over. I thought that was unfair. So I would go to work knowing that I shouldn't be there because I was sick, because I didn't want to have another verbal warning. So I did that for 8 months until my body couldn't take it anymore. And I went out on leave and I couldn't get cleared because while I was at work, I was waiting to have lung surgery. People did not know this. Only a few people knew that I was going to have lung surgery. So the next surgery that I had was August 10th, 2018. I had a nerve compression, a nerve decompression done, which they released nerves in here, in my back, right here, under my arm, all the way down. So they basically took the nerve out of my ankle, put it in my chest to try to repair my phrenic nerve. Now, let me tell you about the surgery. When the surgeon went in, how about my phrenic nerve was completely severed and it was missing 4 inches. No wonder why I couldn't get better. There was no way I would be able to get better if there was 4 centimeters, not inches. I'm sorry, 4 centimeters. Was it inches? I don't know. 4 centimeters or inches. I can't remember either one of the nerve missing. So they took the nerve out my ankle, put it into my chest. So I'm thinking after this, I'm going to be good, right? Because this is the issue. Had the surgery. When I wake up from the surgery, I can breathe better. I feel better. I can walk outside, right? And it was summertime. I was walking outside. I wasn't having hardly any breathing problems. I thought that this was it. Like, oh my God, I found the right thing, right? So this surgeon that I deal with now, he's the only one in the world. I know it sounds crazy, but it's really not. The only surgeon in the world who deals with people like me. And anybody who has a phrenic nerve injury or a paralyzed diaphragm, please look up Matthew R. Kaufman, Kaufman. He's in New Jersey. He's with the Plastic Surgery Center. He's excellent. He's an excellent doctor. Anybody who have pain issues, Dr. Andrew Elkwood, he's another surgeon who did my nerve. I had 2 surgeries at the same time. Dr. Kaufman did my phrenic nerve surgery, and Dr. Elkwood did my decompression surgery. Excellent doctors, excellent doctors. Look him up. He's also with the Plastic Surgery Center in New Jersey, and they do have offices in PA, New Jersey, as well as in New York. And there's international clients who come from around the world just to work with this surgeon. So anybody who's having any issues, reach out to them. I'm telling you, awesome people. So I had my surgery. I'm doing good. 9 days after my surgery, my husband ends up hurting himself. So he was in the hospital for 13 days. So I went from being taken care of now taking care of my husband because his situation was I'm not going to say it was worse than mine, but the way I am about my husband, if he's not right, I'm not right. And I need to make sure he was right. So yes, I stayed with him the whole 13 days in the hospital, just getting out of surgery. I still had a neck brace on. I still had my bandages on. It was a mess. I was down there arguing with the staff because they was telling me to go home. And I said, I'm not leaving my husband here with y'all, because no, not doing it and whatever. So 3 months go past, and all of a sudden, you know, I'm up here right after surgery. 3 months go past, and I just start declining again. I'm like, what is going on? Chest infection after chest infection after chest infection. It was a mess. So after that, I was just like, I don't know what to do. Like, I started being depressed because I'm like, I don't know what else to do. You know, my quality of life is not, I couldn't work out. I still can't work out. You know, I do what I can, but I can't work out like I used to work out, like yoga, all that. I can't do nothing, basically. So, yeah, here I am now. This past February, I ended up with RSV, which is a virus usually kids get or elderly people, but because my immune system is so compromised, I ended up getting it, which turned into bronchiolitis, which is a severe form of bronchitis. Like, you're very congested, and when you have lung issues, congestion is not your friend. So I was admitted into the hospital. They did a chest x-ray, and lo and behold, my plication came undone. So my lung is again now elevated again. My diaphragm is now elevated again, right? Now, remind you, the bottom left lobe is completely paralyzed, collapsed, and now damaged, right? Not only that, the diaphragm is now higher than it was initially in 2015. So it's causing me a lot of breathing problems. So this is why I am on the oxygen until I have my other lung surgery, which I am waiting for. Now, in the surgery that I am about to have, they're going to put a diaphragm pacemaker in, because now the surgery with the phrenic nerve transplant, actually, I would say it was a success, right? Now, of course, I'm not 100%. Of course, my phrenic nerve is not working at 100%, but compared to the EMG I took phrenic nerve EMG I took prior to my surgery versus after my surgery, the EMG after my surgery was a little bit better, right? Showing that my phrenic nerve is working a little bit better, right? But my diaphragm is now weaker than it was before. Probably because it was sold down for so many years and it hasn't been used, right? Now, the good part about it is that prior to my surgery, prior to the transplant, my diaphragm didn't move at all. It was completely paralyzed. Now it moves a little bit, right? So they said, instead of plicating you again, let's try to do this diaphragm pacemaker to see if the stimulation will help you breathe better and you won't have to get the plication done. So right now, at this point, I am waiting to have the surgery. I've been waiting. I had a surgery date of June 25th, but I had to resign from my job at the firm because I was out of work from September 2017 to now, right? So I'm waiting. So I resigned from my job, and because I resigned from my job, my insurance, I lost my insurance, right? So I was supposed to have my diaphragm pacemaker surgery June 25th of this year. But because I lost my insurance, because my insurance lapsed, they had to take me off the schedule. I have insurance now. They had my information since May 31st, and I'm still waiting for a date. I'm trying to stay on them as much as possible. Like, listen, my breathing is getting worse. I'm on 2 liters of oxygen, but when I walk around, I have to boost it up to 4 liters because 2 liters is not enough to hold me. My whole thing is this. So I'm trying to Okay, so this is how they treat me. My breathing is so bad. I'm going to put this into perspective for y'all. My breathing is so bad that I breathe as if I'm a 65-year-old person who smoked all my life. I'm not a smoker. I've never been a smoker. Okay? My breathing is so bad that I'm on a lot of COPD meds, and they treat me as a COPD patient. Now, they don't say I have COPD. They say I have chronic respiratory failure, which is similar to COPD. You have a lot of the same things, but ultimately they treat me like a COPD patient. Sorry, I ran out of breath. So I'll have that sometimes. You'll hear my voice go in and out. It's because I ran out of air and I can't talk anymore. I'm trying to recover. So I'm on a lot of COPD meds. I'm on that Trilogy elliptical, that inhaler thing, dual nebs. We tried a couple different biologics. One was Xolair. I had an allergic reaction to that. That's supposed to help people with low immune systems, kind of bring up their immune system a little bit to help them fight off, the simplest things. So the Xolair, I had an allergic reaction to, so I can't use that. So then we tried Fasenra. I did have a minor reaction. It wasn't as bad as the Xolair one. The Xolair one, I broke out in a rash. I had to stay at my doctor's office for 6 hours versus the 2 hours. When I had the Fasenra, I didn't get a rash, but I was itching. But they gave me Benadryl, and I was cool. And then, I was on steroids at the time, so I was taking steroids, the Benadryl, and I was okay. So we're supposed to start the Fasenra shots back to see if I can tolerate it. And then I have really bad allergies and I do have asthma now. That's like an underlying thing, but it's like allergic asthma too. So I'm highly allergic to dust, which you can't do anything about, really, right? I'm allergic to cats and dogs. My cat, well, it's not my cat, it's my daughter's cat, but he's my grandkitty. I love him. He's my baby. I love him so much that I didn't tell my doctor that I have a cat. Okay? But I am about to start the allergy injection, so that should help with my baby. I'm not giving him away. I'm not sending him back. We rescued him January of this year, and I'm never going to not have a cat. He's the best thing that has come into our lives. And Pancake, his name is Pancake, he's like the center of our family. He's like the last puzzle piece. You know what I'm saying? He made our family really complete. He's the sweetest little cat. Like, oh my God, if I'm not feeling well, he'll lay with me in the bed all day. He'll be with me all day. Say I get up to go to the restroom in the middle of the night, he'll come and meet me to make sure I'm good, and then he'll go back in the room with his mother or whatever the case may be. He's so sweet. He comes and visit me in the morning and meows at my door. He's just, all right, enough about Pancake, because I can go on and on and on about him because I love him dearly. And we'll talk about Pancake and why him being here is such a big deal, because it really is. Like, that's another video. This video is almost 40 minutes long, so I'm going to wrap it up. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know why I was on oxygen right now. And since that's the most obvious thing, why not just go on and get it out the way? If you guys have any questions, please comment in the description box down below. And again, I'm going to put the doctor's information in the description box as well, just in case, because the whole point of doing these videos is not to make a career, make money. It's not even about that for me. I just want to help other people. Like, I know that my purpose on earth is to help other people, and by making videos, I can touch a whole lot more people than, in my house. I can't really leave the house, so this is the only way I can really communicate with the outside world. I do go out for doctor's appointments and stuff like that, but because the air quality is so bad, I can't really be outside. And in case y'all didn't know, I live in Pennsylvania, so around this time, it's a lot of allergens and stuff from pollen and stuff like that. I do live like right next to the woods, so yeah. But other than that, I'm sorry I made this so long, but I think this was a great first video. If you guys like longer videos, let me know. If y'all want shorter videos, let me know, because I do talk a lot, you know. But yeah, let me know in the description box. I don't have any social media, and I'm not going to open any. This is going to be my only social media, but I will open an email in order for you guys to contact me. I'm not really with the whole social media thing. I don't like to know what people are doing, and I don't want people to know what I'm doing. Not like that, but I come from an era where we didn't have those things, and yeah, I'm not a social media type person, so you're not going to find me on Instagram, or, you know, only thing I really had was a Facebook, and I deactivated it because, one, I don't keep up on social media, and two, they had so many data breaches that no thank you. All right, guys, so I'm gonna wrap this up. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and comment, and hit that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. And until the next video, guys, peace, love, and blessings. Have a good day, y'all.